What's up, guys? Before the video starts, I just want to remind you, subscribe down below and comment for your chance to get a free copy of Anthem, get a free copy of The Division, and get some Apex Legends codes. I'm doing a giveaway right now. I need to up the subscribers, and once I do that, then I can give away these games. So please comment, subscribe, tell me what you like about the channel. Just comment anything, talk to me, and you can win. Anyway, today we're going to be talking about Anthem, and more specifically the Interceptor, and what I like about it, what I don't like about it. Is it worth playing in the full build of the game, and also just some builds for the Interceptor so you guys can do really well on it. I really enjoy it. It's a fast class. That's kind of what it's like meant to be, right? It's supposed to be like almost like the rogue in traditional RPGs of Anthem, and it's really cool. So let's get into it. First things first, the Interceptor is more of a melee range character, I would say. The ultimate is the only ultimate in the entire game where you have to be in melee range. Storm, you drop thunderstorms on people. Colossus, you shoot a giant gun. Ranger, you shoot a Iron Man barrage of missiles. But Interceptor, you basically become invincible for a pretty decent period of time, and your melee auto attacks just shoot through the friggin' roof. It also, when you hit an enemy, sometimes people don't do it correctly, but if you hit an enemy, it actually leaves like an after image, like a ninja. It leaves an after image that keeps attacking the target. It's almost like a damage over time effect in traditional MMOs. And so you don't necessarily need to stick to one target unless it's like a boss and you want to really ramp up that damage, right? But when it comes to clearing ads, you can kind of just bounce from ad to ad. In the demo here, it's not really as useful to like bounce from ad to ad because they're all like so low HP because we're not playing on like Grandmaster difficulties, but it's just a little tip for you guys, just in case you didn't know, because they don't really make it super clear that it leaves after images that continue to attack targets. I think it's up to 3. The build that I'm running is the Cryo Shuriken and the Tempest Strike. Now, the Cryo Shuriken essentially does exactly what it sounds. It shoots out like 2 or 3 shurikens that freeze the targets instantly. Just in case you didn't know, the abilities in this game are essentially split up into 2 different categories. You have primers and you have detonators. It's very similar to Mass Effect with biotic combos, and combos are really big in terms of the damage and overall utility of classes in this game. They all do different things on different classes, but especially towards endgame and like Grandmaster, Grandmaster 3 and everything, combos are going to be everything. It's going to be truly how your damage spikes, right? So the Interceptor, in my build, I'm using the Cryo Shuriken, which essentially is a primer that freezes the target instantly, freezes 1 or 2 targets. And then I'm using Tempest Strike, which is a melee ability, but has a very, very short cooldown, does a lot of damage, and that is a detonator. So I essentially go dash around and I pop Cryo Shuriken, and then I hit right bumper to detonate it with Tempest Strike. And then the Interceptor's combo ability is that you get an aura buff that essentially transfers the status effect of whatever you detonate to enemies around you for a set period of time. So if you're popping Cryo as the Interceptor like I'm doing, then everything around me starts to get frozen and freeze, so you can keep comboing people. And unlike other classes' combo auras or combo abilities, right, the Ranger just does more damage when they combo, the Colossus does an AoE damage, and the Storm sets off another combo somewhere else. It's kind of like an AoE spread. This stays on you for a long time, right? And that's kind of the boon to Interceptor, is that you're going to be in close range a lot of the times, and so being able to have an aura that constantly freezes everything around you is like immensely helpful, especially in endgame if you're trying to constantly refreeze people or keep people CC'd so that they don't kill the rest of your party. It's kind of what sets the Interceptor apart from the other classes. So this build takes advantage of that because you're able to go freeze someone, detonate, then it makes an aura around you, and then you can detonate another person, or your teammate can get detonations off, and that spreads. It's awesome. And especially, I mean, you can see it in the gameplay. It makes it really easy to survive, right? The Interceptor is very, very low health, but its benefit is that its shield regenerates when you move quickly. And so you have 3 dashes, unlike other classes. So you'll notice in my gameplay, I try and speed through this level really fast, but if I ever get low health, I either start dashing immediately, get the 3 dashes so my shield starts to regen, or I take cover and kind of move around so that my shield replenishes at a faster rate. And being able to have this kind of mobility is huge, especially when you're doing hard missions. Huge. I mean, you can see my team is not that great, and I can't do everything by myself. But what I can do is try and accomplish the objective as fast as humanly possible. So at the beginning of Tyrant Mines, you have to collect these fragments, and they're kind of scattered around, and you have to do them while you're getting shot by snipers and turrets. But with the Interceptor, because it's so fast and it can dodge 3 times, dodge in midair, it makes it really easy for everyone else to kind of do their thing, and I just go around and be the dedicated person that picks up all of the fragments quickly and deposits them. You have a lot of survivability, even though technically you're one of the least survivable classes, right? Like, you're one of the squishiest, if not the squishiest. I think Storm is technically the squishiest, has the lowest HP, but you're right next to Storm, and you have to be in melee range, which kind of sucks. But your melee actually does a decent amount of damage. I actually prefer doing it as opposed to shooting guns, because the gunplay didn't feel that great to me. The melee damage, you'll see, I go and I combo someone, I do the combo, and then I just melee them to death, and it does a ton of damage, it really does. And you're able to dash around and replenish your shields while meleeing people, while comboing them in the aura. So like the whole kit really works together quite nicely with this build. The cons are that with the Interceptor's ultimate being melee range, on the last boss of Tyrant Mines, it's kind of like a spider-like creature, right? It's a scorpion, and it's up on its hind legs, so the actual hitbox of the boss is high up. It's not in melee range. And I don't know if you know, but like in terms of melee in Anthem, you don't really have a lot of like upwards mobility when it comes to melee damage. If you jump and you melee, you just come crashing down and you melee the ground, kind of like an AoE stomp. You can't melee people in midair, which kind of makes it difficult when you're fighting a boss that is slightly raised off the ground and your build is melee centric, right? Because even though bosses don't get comboed as easily as traditional enemies, if I'm using my ultimate, I'm not able to jump up and hit them with my melees. I basically have to try and hit the legs and hope that I get a piece of the hitbox, which doesn't feel good at all. I mean, I'm gonna straight up tell you it sucks, especially in this demo, because the only boss that you can really face is raised up off the ground. So when I pop my ult, I can't tell if I'm actually getting hits on it, if I'm not getting hits on it. It's great for ad clearing, and it's great for other things, but in terms of killing bosses that are raised up, it sucks. For the Titans, the Ash Titans in like free roam, etc., it's great. For the gatekeepers at the beginning of this mission, it's great, but for the bosses that are raised up in the air, it's useless, honestly. The one thing that I would say does make a huge difference and kind of, makes up for that is that unlike other classes, like you're not locked into a particular UI when you're using Interceptor ult, and it lasts for a lot longer than other classes because it's in melee range to make up for it. You can go and pop the ultimate and not even attack people. You can use it to go and revive your teammates, and you're invincible the entire time, and you still have a massive window to use ult even if you go and revive teammates. So you'll see in this footage that my entire team goes down because they weren't that great, but I'm able to go and run around and revive everybody with no issues. No other classes can do that, right? Storm, you're locked into the UI animation. Colossus, you're locked into the cannon. Ranger, you're locked into the Iron Man missiles. So it's very versatile in that regard. It's just when it comes to things that are above the ground, it's not that great. I'm going to tell you straight up. As far as the other abilities that I'm not using, I'm not really too pumped for them in the full game. I tried them out. I tried like Acid Spray. I tried these other melee-like abilities. There's a Detonating Strike, which is very similar to Tempest Strike, except it does a slight AoE. But Tempest does more damage, and and Detonating Strike has a longer cooldown. I was looking for a build that allowed me to freeze and instantly combo. The key is getting the combos out as fast as possible, keeping that aura up, right? So Detonating Strike didn't really work that great for me. I know some people like it. I didn't really care for it. The Acid Spray, I just think that freezing people is way too beneficial, especially when you're facing things that are high damage and you're in end game content, or I mean, this isn't end game content, but you're in a stronghold, right? Like, I want to be able to CC things. I don't need dot damage ticking on them. It's leave it to another class. I want to be the CC machine, and because that's how you stay alive. There's a couple shuriken abilities that like don't feel that great. The initial abilities that you get when you start off as the Interceptor, I think it's Plasma Star and Seeking Shuriken, they feel like crap, if I'm being honest. Plasma Star does a ton of damage, like a ton of damage. It breaks through armor, but it's not a detonator and it's not a primer. So it's like, why would I even bother using this? Like, it does a ton of damage, but the game is about those combos. That's the bread and butter of the game. So like, not having ability that does a lot of damage but it can't combo and it can't start a combo, it's just like, I mean, it's just a waste of time, right? Seeking Shuriken is just like, it's almost like a Genji Shuriken where you just go and like shoot off 3 shurikens and they seek targets, but they don't really do anything. Again, it's a kinetic ability. It's not a primer. It's not a detonator. It's just an ability, and it doesn't feel that great. The other abilities, there's one that's called Wraith Strike, where you basically shoot out like a clone that like jumps from target to target and like hits them. But again, it's a kinetic ability. It doesn't prime and it doesn't detonate. Why is it even there? It's cool to look at, but it sucks in actual usage because it doesn't prime, it doesn't detonate. You don't. The key to this game is being on a team and comboing people. And if it's not doing that, then it shouldn't even be in the kit. It's just useless. I'm hoping that in the full game, some of these get like masterworks where they do prime or they do detonate, because then it'll be really cool. But like these 3 abilities, there's another one where it's essentially like a teleport dash just towards one target, single target. It does a lot of damage, but like you have to charge up, and the way that it aims feels terrible. It feels terrible. Like you press it and it doesn't necessarily go to where you're targeting. It just goes straight in a set distance in the way that you're facing. And so like if someone's in the air, you just whiff them. If someone is at the bottom of a ramp and you are at the top of the ramp, it doesn't dash to them. It dashes forward into the air and leaves you above them doing no damage. It feels like crap. So like, it's kind of a bummer when you see these abilities that like they could be cool, but like they're all kinetic, or they're detonators, but they don't do anything. It sucks to use them. And so that's I mean, that's just off the top of my head 4 abilities that like you don't really want to be using at all when you're playing the Interceptor. So it significantly limits the amount of options that you have, in my opinion. Whereas like other classes, you get these great abilities, and it's just not there with the Interceptor. Overall, I really like the class. I think it's really cool. I like being able to dash around, and it's definitely unique in comparison to the other classes. But there's some glaring weaknesses that, like, in terms of endgame content in the full game, like, I don't know if it's going to be that great for them. I just don't, because basically you just have to go and like get in melee range as a really squishy target and hope that your team can CC and that you can dash around and evade things. That's kind of my thoughts on the Interceptor. I really hope this gave you some useful information, some useful tips for how to play the Interceptor better, you know, in terms of dodging, proper use of combo, your combo aura. If you thought it was useful or you like my content at all, please subscribe and comment and like down below. Let me know what you think. If you didn't like it, then still do the same thing. Tell me what you thought of it. Tell me what I can improve on. Tell me what you didn't like. Tell me what you do like. I'll respond to everything. And also gets you in on a dope giveaway for a free copy of this game, a free copy of the Division 2, or some Apex Legends code. But I can only do that if you subscribe and comment, so I know where you are, who you are, you know. Again, my name's Adam T. Jump on the bandwagon now. Peace.